Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rucha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And in this lesson is dealing with something that we covered a while back, dealing with those fires, those wildfires that were going on over there in here at the Palisades in California. And as you can see in the headline, another CT comes true. California bill passes to buy fire-ravaged Palisades for low-income apartments. So we'll read a little bit of it, but you'll start to get the sense of where this is going. It says here, the writing is on the wall, bold and in large font, for private landowners and homeowners in areas governed by socialist-aligned officials who have zero respect for private property. They're coming for your land. Remember Marxist-aligned NYC Democratic candidate Zoran Mamdani, who called for the government to seize luxury condos to house the homeless during the CVP. These far-left officials have made their Marxist intentions clear, and they can no longer be ignored. Now shift to the West Coast. Homeowners in the fire-ravaged Palisades, part of the Los Angeles area governed by Marxist-aligned Mayor Karen Bass, have been left homeless and with more questions than answers. Now, it says here, if the Pacific Palisades Reservoir had been filled during last year's wildfire, could their homes have been saved? Why did the city neglect the reservoir, and was it intentional? So what you'll see here is they passed a bill, right, as you can see here, to let LA, right, Los Angeles, buy fire-destroyed lots for low-income housing. Remember the whole smart LA agenda? And we said that, right? You go back and watch those previous videos because it's all coming to light. But that's after the fact, and thousands of hardworking families have been left homeless due to what appears to be the epic fire mismanagement by Democrats in City Hall. There was also mention of the use of DEW, right, direct energy weapons, in part or in play with these wildfires. So, there were reports out there that this wasn't just, say, like arsonists starting it and the officials just letting it be, but rather a hidden hand at play that was also exacerbating these wildfires for that very reason of clearing that land. So now you don't have to go, like, that was the deconstruction. Okay. You don't need to worry about people who are all bunched up over there and their properties, because nature took care of it for you. It says here, the whole global warming narrative isn't sticking this time, overshadowed by sheer incompetence that increasingly looks intentional with each passing month. Yeah, and I remember I said that you'll find out what, when people say, oh, this whole smart LA stuff is just a conspiracy theory. That's not really what's going on there. All you got to do is just let, time is the best judge. Watch what they end up doing. If somebody says, hey, these guys have a plan to do X, Y, and Z, which is why they're doing the things you're seeing right now, well, just watch what they end up doing. Because if they end up doing what was said that they would do, then now you know that what was said was true. So, okay, all right, the fires just so happened to happen, and it's a poor thing. Nothing could have been done about it. Okay, what are you going to do now that the land is destroyed and cleared? Oh, you go ahead and pass a bill so you can buy it? Okay, you buy it. Now what? What are you going to do? Oh, low-income housing. Okay, interesting. What kind? Because eventually, that's the thing about it. you can only hide your agenda so much until you have to implement it. Everybody's going to see it. Because if your plan is to rob a bank, you can be as discreet as you want in terms of, scouting the area, gathering information, and so on and so forth. But eventually you got to rob the bank. You got to go there and physically rob the bank. So it doesn't matter how low key you stay. There's going to come a point where you actually have to physically do the action. And at that point, it's going to be exposed anyway. Because in retrospect, people are going to say, oh, he did rob the bank. So it turns out that you were right. He was plotting to rob a bank. We know because he robbed the bank. So when you look at what they're doing over here, okay, they buy these lands, they rebuild it, and they turn it into smart cities. Well, there you have it. The only difference is with prophecy, you don't have the luxury of, oh, well, now that I've found out, now I believe what you're saying. So now let me go and do something about it. No. That's the double-edged sword. You find out at a point where you can't do really anything about it. That's the whole point of faith, which is not having the carnal evidence, right? You have the opportunity to do something about it, but you don't have the proof, the physical, tangible proof that most people would be looking for. And then the other end of the other side of the token is when you do have that physical proof to say, okay, now I have the definitive information to make a decision, you don't have the ability to do anything about it. That's just the way it is. It says here, CA Senate passes bill to let LA buy fire destroyed lots for low income housing. Yep, you have a few. And people starting to catch on, right? Does anyone think this wasn't planned to some degree all along? So like we've said before, whenever you start to see them doing things that are contrary to common sense, they have intelligence agencies at their fingertips. So they start doing things that are contrary to common sense that even the average individual knows, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Like, this is counterintuitive to a goal that you're trying to achieve, if that goal is peace. When you start seeing that, there's a narrative at play. Okay? And so it says here, Just the News reports that California Senate Bill 549 has passed, allowing Los Angeles County and other municipalities to create resilient rebuilding authorities, or RRAs, funded by property taxes. In other words, Democrats want to use public funds to acquire fire-destroyed lots cheaply, coordinate rebuilding, and develop low-income housing. Interesting. Real interesting. So you're starting to see that, these things that we've been telling you, it's the whole conspiracy theory. It's not really a theory anymore, right? It's coming to light. Self-proclaimed investor and CIA/NSA contractor whistleblower Tony Saruga commented on Just the News reporting. Others responded to Saruga by saying, actually, that was based on what's in matter of fact, let's read this real quick. Here's more. As a funding mechanism, the bill would allow the RRA for Los Angeles wildfires to issue, receive, and administer funds, including but not limited to tax increment financing, federal loans and grants, state loans and grants, philanthropic grants to support recovery. RRA law would then be able to use taxpayer funds to oversee most of the construction process and would be granted the power to purchase lots at a fair price for land banking, purchase critical construction materials in bulk, and support the reconstruction workforce by partnering with trades, facilitating training and workforce development, and creating temporary workforce housing. RRA law would also facilitate reconstruction of lost rental housing stock, including by promotion of accessory dwelling units, X, Y, and Z. Remaining funding could be used for multifamily affordable housing projects. transit capital projects, and transit-oriented development projects. On Wednesday, in Wednesday's hearing, Gavin Newsom announced the allocation of $101 million in taxpayer funds for multifamily low-income housing development in communities in Los Angeles devastated by the Palisades, Eaton, and Hughes wildfires. So I think you pretty much get where this is going. All right. You have people commenting here. Another conspiracy theory becomes reality. Fire victims were told this wasn't going to happen. It took only 6 months. But don't worry, if you broke federal law entering the country illegally and ICE looking for you stresses you, Mayor Karen Bass is sending you money. Somebody replies, almost as if the whole thing was on purpose. Somebody says here, Newsom and Bass need to be removed. It was carried out as planned. They don't care for anybody. So what you're starting to see is like, people are starting to catch on, right? It's coming to light now, and that's what happens, right? Their motto is by consent or by conquest. So when the consent or the deception part is not working, they resort to the sword. They resort to violence, right? They resort to using the iron fist to rule. And eventually, that's what you're going to see with this guy, Trump. As his supporters wane and as people start to turn, as with this whole Epstein thing and all of that, eventually you're going to start to see him get even more and more. He's going to start to sign off and consent onto more and more draconian and cruel measures. And you'll see that reign by an iron fist, whether you like it or yes. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, right? Which we know happened with Israel, right? Falling from, having that period of time of losing our heritage and our, the knowledge of who we were in X, Y, and Z. But we knew that had to happen before the time of the Lord's return and his deliverance, where he would take down, Esau's kingdom. But here's a key part right here. And that man of sin, Esau, be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's what's happening, right? The Lord put the spirit on the prophets to come out here and speak the truth. But in doing so, events, the world events that are taking place and how people are watching and how information is coming out and how you have whistleblowers coming out and saying X, Y, and Z. All these things are creating that awareness, and people are starting to see the truth for what it is. You can deceive people with your words. You can, frame others and so on, but you can't hide your actions, right? You can't hide your true nature, because given a certain situation, the way that you are, the way you are inwardly is going to come out. It just takes the right situation. So anyway, another one, as you can see here, obviously it's not going to stop here. But the reason these are more apparent is because we're getting closer to the point of the enactment of the plan. Going back to the bank robbery example, on the day of where the person has to rob the bank, you're going to see them at the bank, right? And I'm talking about like a traditional bank robbery. You will see them there. Okay. So it's the same thing we're seeing here in prophecy. Like these plans that they have, the closer we get to the full enactment of them, the more obvious it'll become. Because you'll see the getaway car. You'll see the person walking in. Eventually, they're going to hold people hostage. And then, it'll just get so obvious, you know exactly what's going on. But it's too late, because now he got everybody hostage. And he's already in the bank. All right. So anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying and informative to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kudash. And until next time, Shalom.